Peace, 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 peace. What's going on? What's going on? Who we got up in the building? Oh, Henny, I see you. Kenzo is in the building. Sharonda, salute. Yeah, yep. So it's Sunday. So, I said, let's take it back, to the good old times. On Sunday, I used to have a show called Sunday Service where, we talk about theology, religion, faith, ideology, things like that. So I said, it's Sunday. Let's bring it back. Yeah, Sunday Service. I gotta come up with a new name though, Kenzo. But so y'all see the title, as I've been, I've been studying my faith, studying the Bible and different things. I recognize, some people think, some people believe in like a Trinity, 3 persons, some say, God is omnipresent, omnipotent, so it's different, interpretations. But I've seen in the Bible, not only the Most High, what I call the Most High is the creator of all, the Most High, the invisible God, or whatever. And then you got, manifestations. You got like, the spirit, things people see, like, angels and things of that nature. So even in the Bible, God is like a title. Men are called gods, idols are called gods, So depending on your definition of God, do you believe in a creator? What do you believe in? The definition of God that, comes from Islam, the definition of God that comes from Judaism, from Christianity, or don't you believe in God at all? Some people don't believe in God or a creator, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Hold on.
There's just no evidence of it. And this is why religions are called faiths, collectively, because you believe something in the absence of evidence. That's what it is. That's why it's called faith. Otherwise, we would call all religions evidence, but we don't. I would say in my studies of the universe, I value evidence, and I don't see evidence for any kind of active intelligence or power over anything. Every description of God that I've heard holds God to be all-powerful, very typical, and all good. And then I look around and I see a tsunami that killed 250,000 people in Indonesia, an earthquake that killed 250,000 people in Haiti, and I see earthquakes and tornadoes and disease, childhood leukemia, and I see all of this and I say, I do not see evidence of both of those being true simultaneously. If there is a God, the God is either not all-powerful or not all good.
I just believe we should follow the 10 Commandments. The rest of the book is a book of stories. Oh yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Like me personally, my core belief is about the message, not the story. So what is the message? Like what is it trying to say? What is it trying to teach us? What is it trying to tell us? Things like that. But as far as, no evidence, of a creator, creation, we are here. Something created all of this stuff. Now, what he's saying is not intelligent. Now, listen, how are we intelligent? How is beings intelligent if it wasn't created by something intelligent? Something intelligent. So you telling me something intelligence was created by something that's not intelligent? Doesn't make any sense. Only facts. What's going on? Only facts. Because we don't know how we got here. We don't know how long we've been here. All of these things are theories. We don't know how the planet got here. We don't know how the universe appeared. Would it appeared from nothing? That seems like it's impossible, right? Something to appear from nothing. So either it appeared from nothing or it was just here. So, things like that, we can't have the answers to these things. So, science and man can't understand these things. So we say, the creator, whoever created all of this knows how it was created. You feel what I'm saying? And when I say who, I'm not talking about like a bearded man in the sky or nothing like that. I'm talking about information. Information is what creates everything, right? Where does this information come from? It must come from a source, which that source is the creator. If you want to look at it scientifically or, things of that nature. Red Jones, salute. And as far as, they say, God is all good and all powerful. Now, our concept of good comes from us. What's good for us may not be good in general. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes what's good for us is bad for somebody else. But if we have free will, if the Most High gave us free will, we have to have a choice. So if the Most High God is all good and we got free will, we have to choose either all good or all bad. Because without a choice, how could you have free will? How could you appreciate life without death? How could you appreciate the light without the dark? How could you appreciate good without bad? Now that's simple. That's a simple duality. Now you have gray areas, of course, but people ask, why all of the suffering and death? Why do we have to go through this and all of that? But us as human beings, like we don't appreciate things. You know what I'm saying? The greatest, some of the greatest inventions or greatest events happen because people were suffering. Even salute to the ladies. Even childbirth, the ladies have to go through pain and suffering to produce life. It's just nature. That's just how it is. That's just how it goes. Now, right and wrong, in the eyes of nature and creation and all of that, right and wrong is not the same as how we think about it. Harlem Romeo, what's going on, my brother? Wild Country. Well, yeah, I mean, I see, but Satan just means an adversary. It's the opposite. You feel what I'm saying? But we as human beings, we like to project the way we think in a way how we feel onto God and whatever we believe. So if you look in nature, lions eat deers. Is that wrong? Is it wrong or right? Why? There's a reason. There's a reason for everything. Just because we don't know the reason doesn't mean it's not a reason. It's a reason for everything. It rains. It goes into the soil, the seeds. It helps the trees grow. The moon, a full moon brings up the tide. Like these things happen. These happen by design. These things, it happens for a reason. So everything that happens naturally that helps us survive and how we got here and all of that, like that was just a mistake. That don't make no sense. And everybody's, everybody don't think the same. So everybody's definition of right and wrong and good and bad is not the same. It's about the message. What's the message? What's the lesson? What can we learn from this? Like, for example, he brought up, earthquake or a tsunami wipe out a whole village and stuff like that. What do you learn from that? We learned some stuff here, fort lines and, where not to build villages and towns, because, this is, an active volcano. It could erupt every 30, 40 years. Like we learn all of this stuff because these things happen. But it is what it is. We got free will. So it's the choices that we make that dictate what's going to happen in our existence. We can't keep blaming God and the devil. We got free will to choose. And if you look at it in general, we are not choosing good. You know what I'm saying? Like in general, the majority of humanity is not choosing good. Whatever your definition of good may be. Callie, what's going on? So, I don't think, scientists, historians, I mean, if you don't have faith and, to each his own, everybody believes in what they believe in and they believe how they believe. I mean, you could put information out there and it may spark something in somebody and they change their mind. That's cool. But as far as, trying to enforce things and, try to act like we don't know what's going on. Science ain't 100% right. When I was a kid, like I said, Pluto was a planet. Pluto wasn't a planet. Pluto a planet. Columbus got lost. He thought he was in India. We got the West Indies. People are called Indians. Like, it's all types of mistakes that has been made. You know what I'm saying? In all actuality, this was created in somebody's imagination. So the way we think, we see things, and the things we learn, everybody around the world don't think like that. Those things that was called planets, everybody, they was once called wandering stars. So in the future, we don't know. They might say, "Oh, this was really Africa." In the future, they could be like, "Oh, they got it wrong," and then this is going to become Africa. Like it is whatever they say it is, because the people in power controls, how we, see things. Appreciate. Right. So, people have, debates and stuff like that. It's cool and all that, You can learn, you can always learn. And, I can't be mad at, this dude. He said it ain't no evidence. I get it. There's really no evidence, That's why we have faith. But is it really evidence of how the universe was created? Like, do we really have evidence, or is that just what they say? Because people could say, "Oh, they found the Shroud of Turin. That was on Jesus' face. They found the nails. They nailed Jesus." Like, they can come up with evidence. They found Julius Caesar's toga. They can always come up with some with evidence. It depends on who's in control. Appreciate. So I always say, what we don't know how to do is say, "I don't know." Like, we just don't know how to say, "You know what? I don't know." There's nothing wrong with that. We like to make up some elaborate things in our imagination instead of just saying, "You know what? I don't know." Because that's all the theory is. A theory is saying you don't know, but you think it could have happened this way. But we don't know. And this is why we in this problem right now. We got a bunch of half monkey bones talking about, this is what we evolved from, these monkeys. Like, so, some people think it's crazy, or, it's some mythical fantasy to believe in, God and stuff like that. But me personally, I think it's a mythical fantasy to believe we came from some monkeys. But I'm just saying. John Columinati. So, stuff can exist, but it's just people's interpretation. Like space, history. I don't think we know what happened 200, well, not 200, 2,000 years ago. We don't know what's up in the sky, what we call space and the galaxy. We don't know none of this stuff. We spend a lot of time and money trying to promote this stuff. Does it really even matter? What is it doing for society? At least it's morals, values, and principles attached to, faith and, the Most High. But that's a whole nother conversation. But as I said, man, I understand the scientific people who worship science or God as or science as they God. I get it.
There's just no evidence of it. And this is why religions are called faiths, collectively, because you believe something in the absence of evidence. That's what it is. That's why it's called faith. Otherwise, we would call all religions evidence, but we don't. I would say in my studies of the universe, I value evidence, and I don't see evidence for any kind of active intelligence or power over anything. Every description of God that I've heard holds God to be all-powerful, very typical, and all good. And then I look around and I see a tsunami that killed 250,000 people in Indonesia, an earthquake that killed 250,000 people in Haiti, and I see earthquakes and tornadoes and disease, childhood leukemia, and I see all of this and I say, I do not see evidence of both of those being true simultaneously. If there is a God, the God is either not all-powerful or not all good.
So, as I said, man, I have faith in the Most High. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he has faith in science. Everybody has faith in something. Some people have faith in their own imagination, Amen. But yeah, I'll drop the call line if anybody want to come up. I'll drop the call line. But if not, yeah, I know what it is. Salute to the members first and foremost. Salute to the genuine supporters. Salute to the chat. Salute to everybody watching from behind the scenes. And salute to everybody who catch this on the replay. It's your host and your DJ Hollow. Wait, hold on. Let me drop the call line in case anybody want to have anything to say, any questions, any comments. Hit the link or in the chat. Yeah, man. So I don't know. Listen, all of the study I've been doing, I've been studying the Trinity. I've been studying the Bible. I've been studying history, theology, biblical history. Man, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. But at the end of the day, I still have my faith, because for me, as I said, it's not about the story. It's about the message. Angel means messenger. So, a lot of these words mean something. And as I said, the title of God can be given to a man, an idol, a figment of your imagination, or, the Most High, the Creator. It's how I see it. But nobody, 100% believes the same thing. And, in my studies, before, religion, I'm not really a religious person. In the Bible, it said they were called Christians in Antioch. And then later on, you had the Council of Nicaea, and then they put together a curriculum that all didn't follow. All Christians didn't follow this. So this has been going on for Lord knows how long. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's not about the story. It's about the message. And listen, for some reason, the most popular, powerful God in the world happens to be the Christian God. The most popular man in the world just happens to be the man called Jesus Christ. The most popular villain or bad guy in the world just happens to be Satan, you know. So it's something that it's something to that, you know, if you don't believe in coincidence. Flat Earth, what's going on? You know, and I just happened to be born into a Christian family, and you know, and that's what I study. I study what I am. You know, I was born into a Negro Christian family, American Negro, and that's what I study. I study my culture, my heritage. You know what I'm saying? My faith, my people. Some people claim, you know, they came from other places, or you know, this and that, and that's what they study. You know, they learn a whole new language. You know, I'm not mad at that. But me personally, before I try to learn about, you know, anybody else or anything else, I have to learn myself. To learn about myself, I got to know myself before I can claim to know anybody else. Oh Lord. Well, I don't know what to say about that, but listen, I'll say this. A lot of these religions, you know, they have, I guess, you know, they have good intentions and stuff like that, but you know, the people, you know, just have some people who, you know, did not have good intentions, you know, in everything. Religion, so-called race, politics, government, you know, everything is about the people, you know, who's not like-minded, who don't have good intention. It's not about the, you know, they can hide behind the organizations and the labels and stuff like that, but when it really get down to it, it's the people who control everything. You feel what I'm saying? So Mr. X is in the building. But anyway, I'm about to get up out of here. I appreciate y'all. Salute. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Again, salute to the members. Holla at y'all boy.